Hey squad, welcome back. As promised, I'm back again with the third and final video in my short series on mixing your tracks using the fantastic processors and effects plugins that come as standard right here in Logic Pro. So far in the first video, I showed you how you can optimize your Logic Pro drummer tracks and mix them using parallel compression. And in the second video, we looked at how you can get a great electric bass sound using the awesome electric bass plugins and processors right here in Logic. But today we're going to focus on how you can mix a bunch of guitar parts again using these awesome stock Logic plugins. So let's get into it. Okay, so let me play you what we've got in terms of our guitars, and then I'll show you how we got to this point. Okay, great. So as you can see right here, we've got our guitar stack, and in our guitar stack, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guitar parts. And at this point over here at bar 32, they're all playing at the same time. Just to remind you, a link will be in the description where you can download this Logic project and check out what I've done with all of the effects and processing for this particular project. Make sure you check the link in the description. Okay, so let's start with this funky rhythm guitar track. I'll play back the raw unprocessed audio, and then we're going to apply our Logic Pro plugins. Let's have a listen. Cool, sounding nice. It's well recorded and it already sits quite nicely in the mix. But remember, this is not the only guitar part that we're dealing with. We're dealing with 6 different parts. So as we build the picture and build a mix between them all, we have to make sure that there's separation between the different parts so that they can be heard and they can all complement one another. So now what we're going to do is come up here to setting, come down to legacy, GarageBand, guitars, funky rhythm guitar. Let's play that back. Already sweetening the vibe. Let's have a look, see what we got going on. We've got a noise gate here. We're not using the noise gate because the guitar was recorded pretty clean. It didn't go through an amp. It went straight DI, so we didn't have to worry too much about noise from the amp. We've got a compressor and we've got the wonderful Guitar Amp Pro. If you're a guitarist or an enthusiast, you really ought to dive into this one. There's just so much control that you can have over the tone of your guitar, but we're not doing that today. I'm just highlighting these little gems that sit within the program. Next thing we've got is our phaser plugin, which gives us some nice movement in the sound. And then, of course, it's rounded off with an EQ. So let's do another AB. Cool, so that's our first part. We will be doing some panning later on, so this guitar is properly placed in the stereo field, and we'll also adjust the channel fader to make sure the levels are good. But for now, we're just going to pop it back into its normal place right here, and then we'll move on to our next part. Okay, so that's our second guitar part, the muted guitar. So for this one, we come back over here to setting, legacy, Logic, electric guitar, clean filter, then 70s wah. And on the channel strip, we've got the tuner, we've got our pedal board, and in the pedal board, we've got the Logic wah pedal. We've also got an amp. Now this one here is the Logic Amp Designer. Now the Amp Designer is a very different beast to the Guitar Amp Pro, and both of them have their own color, texture, and controls that you can use to shape your sound. Once again, we're not diving into that for now. I just want you to know it's there for your use. And to round things off, we've got an EQ and a compressor. So let's put this back into position right here. And I've got this one panned hard right, and I've also adjusted the volume fader. So let's have a listen. Building up nicely. So let's move on to our next guitar. And we have a second muted guitar part, this time with a different tone and playing a different melodic pattern. So once again, prompt to setting, legacy, logic, electric guitar, complete rigs, R&B, smooth groove. So quickly looking at the channel strip, we've got the pedal board, and on the pedal board we've got a few components, the compressor right here, squash pedal, and we've got a couple more. Both of these are currently switched off, but you can always engage them and shape the sound even further. We've also got the amp here, EQ, Averb, which is another really interesting little reverb plugin, and then we got our compressor and a spreader at the end. Let's put this one back in. In terms of pan position, it's just slightly off center. Pull the volume all the way back, and let's hear how we mix that in with the other two parts. Lovely. Building up a really nice picture there. Now let's listen to this guitar part. For this guitar riff, we're going to open up the library, letter Y on the keyboard to do so as well, electric guitar and bass, crunch guitar, and then we're going to come down to double flange. Once again, we've got a range of plugins on the channel strip. Let's just open up the pedal board. Let's see what's on there. We've got a number of things activated on the pedal board, including a couple of flanges and the blue echo delay pedal. They combine with the other things that are happening here. We've got a stereo delay right here as well on the channel strip, and that's what's building up the sound. So let's put this back to its original position right here. Now this one is panned hard left, this one is hard right, and as you can see, the rhythm guitar is slightly to the left and the second muted guitar is just slightly to the right. So let's hear these together. Sounding really nice. Okay, so for our very last two parts, as we turn things around at the end of the 8-bar section, this first rhythm section goes like this. All right, and then the second one goes like this. So let's bring the first one back down to its position down here. And what we're using on this channel is exactly the same guitar setting that we used on our rhythm guitar just here. So it's the same setting, okay? The only difference is that we're panning 3 o'clock and we've adjusted our volume fader to suit. And for this final riff, we're going to go back to the library, guitar and bass, clean guitar, clean studio stack. Okay, let's see what's on the pedal board. We've got a compressor pedal and we've got this fuzz distortion pedal right here. We've got our amp and we're using a Marshall emulation right here, and the rest we know, compressor and EQ. Pull these back into position. Pan position for this one is like so. Pan for the position for this one is like so. Again, you're going to set your channel fader levels and your pan positioning so that all of the guitars mix well together as a unit of guitars, and then you're going to mix them all into the main production. Now, there's one more really cool effect that I want to show you, which I find really useful in binding all of the guitars together. And it's this one right here, and it's not a Logic plugin, it's by Waves. The Waves CLA guitars. It's a fantastic tool for using on a bus, as I've got right here. All of my guitars are in this summing stack, and on the stack itself, I've got the CLA guitars. Now, it's really cool because I've treated all of the guitar parts independently. However, by passing them through this final stage, I'm able to bind them together and add some more character and life to the guitars as a unit. So let's have a listen to what this is actually doing. Now within this actual unit, you've got lots and lots of different options you can choose from. And this is not just useful on a bus, but it's also very useful on individual guitar parts. But for me, I generally like to mix my guitars using the Logic guitar plugins and then finalize it using this particular plugin. Definitely check it out. I'll have a link in the description where you can download and try this one out completely free of charge, along with some of the other plugins that I'm using on this. So just to remind you, there'll be a link in the description where you can download this Logic project and check out everything I've done to come up with this sound. And I'll see you right back here real soon. I'm Deuce, I'm out. Peace.